Bada boom! Episode 34. The East versus the West. Technically, we're a Western country, despite being further than Eastern countries in the East. That makes sense, yeah.
We're literally below Asia.
Yeah, but
Asia
we extend further east than Asia.
And then New Zealand is fucking.
Not counting islands, of course. And yeah, New Zealand's the most east you could possibly be.
Well, that is based on how we have collectively decided the line between East and West is.
Yes, that's right.
Which is an arbitrary thing in the first place, but you know,
that's
is
right.
Not the type of debate this is. The debate is this arbitrary idea of East.
This is a debate.
West in the form of we could debate.
I mean, there could be.
Do we have different opinions?
Jerky is better in the West.
Jerky.
Yeah.
Jerky is shit in all of their directions.
You know, I don't.
Not
you know, I thought I
jerky.
didn't like jerky, and then someone had it on the table
Not shit
once,
like
and then it
supermarket.
disappeared by the next day.
Yeah, not shit supermarket jerky. Like, I mean, good high quality jerky. That's the good shit.
Yeah, I'm a cheapskate. I don't get the high quality shit.
It's hard to get the high quality shit. And mayonnaise? Mayonnaise is better in the East.
That's an interesting statement.
Why?
Because I don't associate mayonnaise with... I said it with one Eastern character.
Hey, is it my boy that's sitting next to me? Hello, you boy.
Is he next to you? Do you have him next to you?
I have a little, you know those, like, lying down plushes? Those, like, fat
you have a fucking Hijikata plush?
Yeah, I have a little Hijikata plush.
Right. Give it to me.
No, fuck off.
Give it to me.
No.
You won't, but give it to me.
No.
I like him more.
I understand why he loves mayonnaise though.
Because he's in Japan.
Yes, that's right. That's right. Because their mayonnaise is so much better than the fucking normal shit that tastes like glass.
I haven't been.
I associate mayonnaise because they use it more.
That's why I said it was a bold statement.
Honestly, you'd be surprised that mayonnaise is more used in Japan than you'd actually think.
I see mayonnaise.
It's not stated as much, obviously. It's not as widely spoken, but I do see it a lot in dishes and stuff, and like as a topping and shit, or sauce, I should say.
I see it as like a in a lot of memes of culture. Memes I've seen online. It's like this insult to white people. It's like, no thanks, no mayonnaise for me, thanks. It's too spicy.
Ugh.
Yeah,
it's like an insult to low tolerance of, and that's where my
even
like
mayonnaise.
What?
Oh, it's called like Kewpie mayonnaise.
What's that?
That's what the Japanese mayonnaise is.
Oh.
Kewpie mayo.
Like goopy mayo.
Yeah,
hey,
sure.
Topic.
Yeah, I'm talking about East versus West. Oh, we're stereotyping it to manga versus comics, despite technically both being comics.
There's no technically.
They are both comics. There's no technically. They are just both comics. Yeah.
It's like the same thing when people go, yes, well, this is an anime, not a cartoon. They're both fucking. It's the same shit.
Yep.
It's the
animation.
They're getting drawings and they're putting them in like a lot of fucking frames. They're both cartoons, right? But then they don't want to. You got the people who don't really like Western shit. So when you try and lump Western stuff with Eastern stuff, they get triggered for some reason. They're idiots.
Because I have a banana.
I mean,
honestly, I think it's viewed a lot more as cartoons are very childish in nature and are targeting a certain demographic, whereas anime does obviously target a certain target audience, but also not as much as not as young audience, and it can range a bit more. And even in the West, like you see some like cartoons and they don't really say it's a cartoon. They just more associate it with adult animation, and I'm not talking about.
But it is a cartoon.
Yeah,
but
but
it
it is
a
just
cartoon.
cartoon.
It is. And cartoons even range from like Garfield comic strips, for example.
Yeah.
They're often called cartoons. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
I personally don't like to refer to anime as cartoon. It straight up is a cartoon. But
people
when
look at you funny.
But when some people look at one of my shirts, this happened with someone saw my Goku shirt and like, what's a Goku? I just said it was a cartoon character. I don't want to fucking talk about anime to some Karen. It was Karen. She's a lovely lady.
If they don't know what it is, then it's like, oh, you have to explain all that shit.
So if you just say cartoon character, cartoon, easy. They don't want to hear about their kids show. What's an anime? No, they don't want to hear it.
It's animation. It's an animated. I do prefer the term anime more though, just because it is short for like animation, and which is what it is. I prefer animation. I cartoon.
I do tend to prefer to say series or animation, even though it's all. I prefer to refer to things as series in case there's.
Because that's even true. That's still true for them. They're also TV series.
Yeah,
a lot of them are still TV series. A cartoon is a TV series.
All of it.
It's all cartoon.
It's also if you take into account like whenever I refer to something as a series now, I largely do it because if there's also a written form of it, I also will include that.
Yeah,
so
you know what I mean?
If I say the series Dr. Stone, I refer to both the anime and the manga.
Yeah, me too. Usually, even when I'm making my lists, I'm just referring to the best medium of whatever it is. That's what I go by. I don't really care for the anime versus manga.
So I'd consider
bullshit.
the Naruto series, anime, manga, and those movies as well. And regrettably Boruto, but
What?
It's a series. If you go as wide to count the non-canon movies, you have to count the unfortunately canon sequel.
Yeah.
Hey, Dragon Ball Evolution fits in as well.
Oh no. No.
If I say Dragon Ball series.
Well, that's just funny. That's just funny.
Nah.
I don't even get mad at it. Funny.
So does Star Wars.
Fuck!
No, for me that's not funny. For me that's
Yeah, well, the Dragon Ball one for me isn't funny.
yeah, well there you go.
Actually, even the Star Wars one isn't funny. That shit is so bad.
But here's the thing. At least Dragon Ball, didn't pretend to be Dragon Ball. Like, it said it was Dragon Ball.
It didn't pretend. It tried to pretend.
Star Wars
pretended to pretend.
actually, tried to pretend.
They tried to redo redo what the episode 4, didn't they? And it didn't work.
Episode 7 recopying episode 4. That's the least of my problems with the trilogy.
Dragon Ball Evolution, at least so different that I can't really associate them as the same thing. But with the sequels, they have characters like Luke and Leia from the original.
No, that wasn't Luke though. I'm telling you, all Luke.
It wasn't. But they bring. They try and present it as yes, well we're gonna bring these characters and this is what happens, and that's why it's annoying because you're clearly trying to fuck over what came before. Meanwhile, with Dragon Ball Evolution, again, it's so different that I can't be annoyed at that. It's too different, too different.
But I know deep down what it's trying to reference and what it's trying to be, and they just
really
bloody read the Wikipedia shit of Dragon Ball. And didn't look at the source material at all, and it just hurt.
The only thing it has in common with Dragon Ball is the name and the ball. That's what.
And the character names, obviously.
And the character. Other than that, he's not the same shit in the slightest.
Yeah, that wasn't Goku. That's not Goku.
It was a really version of Gohan.
That's accurate.
And even that's correct.
That's true.
The closest character it is in Dragon Ball is Gohan.
Yeah, it is.
And Chi-Chi in that is just a shitter version of Adele.
Yeah.
Of who?
Videl.
Adele?
Videl.
Oh, Videl. I thought you said Adele.
No.
I was very confused for a second.
Yes, Adele from Dragon Ball.
Yeah, that's what
Alex's favourite character.
I misheard it.
Adele in Dragon
Ball.
I like how this topic was East versus West. Well, but I guess that was East versus
West. Yeah, it is, yeah.
Western interpretation.
It's their interpretations of it. But despite that, it is still the West taking an Eastern concept and destroying it.
Despite the fact that Dragon Ball is very fucking popular in the West.
Yeah, it very
which
much
is,
is.
Which is funny.
I mean, to think about it logically, it wasn't too long ago. It was from probably like the 1970s and 80s where the idea of West is best kind of came from, in the fact that everything's superior in the West, and like they bring it out to the Eastern countries. But now there's been more of like a tonal shift where it's like, nah, everything's pretty much even. It doesn't really matter. There is no West is best. West is a bunch of drunk assholes.
And those who idolize how the East is better will often only be seeing it from an outside perspective, the view they want to give. Which is a really big thing a lot of people will miss. A lot of dumb people will miss.
I don't know, I was drinking yesterday. I'm a little tipsy.
So most people.
Honestly, when I think of like East versus West, I think it's more important for me to understand how they tell a story. I think because in each culture you have a different way of telling a story, and that can
that's more than just East West. It's
that's cultural.
Country,
yeah, that's cultural countries. But there is obviously a greater sense of connection because obviously location, they're closer to them, so they share a common theme or type of way of doing things. Obviously with writing styles or how you read something. Like if you read Korean manhwas, it's always in coloured and they're always weirdly spread out on the pages. Or even if you read French comics, a lot of them take on that kind of mix of in between a Western comic book and like comic pages out of a newspaper. That's the kind of comics you'd deal with in France. And a lot of them are unique stories.
But usually speaking, those things, most of those things are super.
But they're all the same in the way that works.
How it looks or how the page is sort of structured. It's really superficial.
Yeah.
I think for me personally, what's most important about a story is the story.
Yeah.
And what story is told. It's why I personally don't really compare manga and comics all too much, because in the end of the day, I don't care.
I don't compare that specifically. I more compare the way the industry has done their job. Like obviously with manga, it's one person writing a story, whereas obviously in comics that's not the case. Sure, there can be those like one-off runs. Like something like Invincible. I mean, but yeah, even that, you can get more people to come in and write shit and do their random crap after someone's finished being the writer and hand it off to someone else. And it does get a bit jumbled and messy. And I think that's one of the things I was more looking at when it comes to East vs. West, just on a base level. Sometimes it can be really hard to get into comics. Especially superhero comics.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I think the difference when it comes to the way they do it is not not particularly the story, but when you hear cartoon, you're going to think of kids' cartoons. When you think of comic book, you'll think of superhero comic books.
Yeah,
there's very little, if any. Well, there are some, but not enough.
There's not enough known.
There's only touch superheroes or that superhuman kind of thing, where there's a lot more diversity in Japanese comic books. Which some of them it doesn't mean that they're all good. It just means that there's a lot more options and choices. If you want to get into American comic books, you're going to get into superheroes or something that's not in stock in your comic book store.
But there are obviously popular options of great series that aren't superhero based, like what is it? Why the Last Man or
Simpsons.
Simpsons comics.
Their comics are good.
Simpsons.
Don't even talk.
Didn't
shit.
they?
I'm not talking shit.
Didn't the Simpsons comics end?
Did
publication? They? Yeah, I think they ended publication.
Oh, good. They were good, and the comics were good because they were pretty much just the TV show, but in comic form.
Yeah. In October,
So there would be plenty of times where I would recall a scene that I would think would play in the TV show, but it was actually in the comic, and vice versa, because it was just they they blend so well together.
Yeah,
Which
I
I
feel
think
like we all got that.
no series really like manga and anime can't do that. They don't do that.
Well,
You know when a scene's you know which scene's which. But with the Simpsons, I genuinely forget which.
but again, I feel like that's also a big difference. Whereas the Simpsons comics told a unique, different story, not in the animation version, the animated version. Whereas manga, the anime is just copying directly from the series. And with,
Yeah, I
and
guess.
obviously with comic things and their comic book series, usually they're far different in whatever you're reading to narrow down a one choice of getting that thing. But it is so distinct with the Simpsons comics or even Futurama comics because they're in the exact same artistic style and the same way that the script would be written, that you just get mixed up sometimes and you don't know what the fuck is real or not. But yes,
But
also it did end in October of 2018, the comics.
I like that they're both pretty much because it if you like The Simpsons, then you're gonna like both the comic and the TV show regardless.
Yeah.
Unless the sound design of The Simpsons and the actual animation turns you on, in which case there you go. That's it. But when it comes to switching between, that's I like the interchangeability. It can be annoying when an animated version of something is shit.
Record of Ragnarok.
And that can always be a shame.
I was about to say that. I was waiting for you to chime in if you weren't.
I finished King. Sorry, you got me on it. I finished King Ganashra last night. It's so good. Anyway.
The anime. I'm just kidding.
The manga.
I know, you're reading the manga.
The other thing I see with like East versus West, and it's less obviously comics, but I think something in the West that tends, at least from our point of view, it tends to be far more popular is book.
On the outside,
specifically novels. Like as in things like Harry Potter are fucking massive because of the book, primarily. I mean, the movies obviously added something, but I feel like books also take off here as well, and books are tend to be seen as a bit more less nerdy, I suppose. So I think it becomes a little bit more mainstream. So even when I look at East versus West, I also count books as well in comparison to manga as well, because sometimes manga can actually also come from
light novels
as well. But I feel as if light novels aren't nearly as popular as novel or regular size novel.
That could be
the scope though as well, because obviously English speaking countries have a larger target audience because there are a lot more countries in the world that speak English,
but also
that's true. But
UK and here.
And
but then there is
many others, but I can't be bothered naming New Zealand
or Canada. There's also translated versions of books, but you take books like Harry Potter.
But they need to be popular enough. For a light novel to be translated, it needs to be popular enough. There needs to be an audience that the publication company can see outside of Japan to get it translated.
And who knows what kind of untapped gems of books are in particular countries that you're just not able to read because it has not been done. I'm not saying that.
I'm saying that books tend to be more popular in the West. Simply put, they seem to get more global in the West than they do in.
Oh yeah, no. Again, I think just my thing with that is that obviously more countries speak the language. Whereas there are some countries out there that don't like to share what they have that much.
But then again, manga isn't written in English, and that has fucking dominated. I think manga is now being comic.
No, that's not actually in question.
So it's not in question, yeah. They just are. It's fact.
To me, I don't see why light novels wouldn't take off. Though that being said, novels overall have been sort of diminishing in terms of popularity due to
I don't
due to the
know.
younger generation having lower attention spans.
Obviously, with light
Manga is
novels,
far easier to read than comics because comics tend to be more packed with more panels, more action, and more words. Manga is real. Usually, if you're not reading Hunter x Hunter, a lot more to the beat, to the point per page. You want to be on a page for less than. It's like a script or an American comic book. You can translate roughly 1 minute per page. It is just not the same in manga. It is. There, so much will happen so quickly. Which I admittedly is one of the reasons I got so into it very quickly because there's less to get into. I feel like
it's so easy to follow as soon as you get into a series, because there's only one thing, one straight line you have to follow. That's all.
Unless you're reading Index.
Unless you're reading Index, yes.
But that's why I sort of
light novels
compare them more with books, because I feel like book or our novels are like that. Our novels are just, you don't have to work out this convoluted net most of the time. It's just this one's the first one. The worst thing is that obviously you won't have numbers generally. Like, take the Harry Potter series, you don't have a numbering system. You have to sort of know which one comes after.
Yeah.
But we live in the age of Google, so it's really not hard to look up the order.
Sometimes
really
it'd
not
be
hard.
nice,
And many books have the order anyway on the back of the book. So
well, sometimes it's confusing, like when you pick up a Marvel comic and it doesn't exactly tell you.
well, I'm more talking about like novels now, like not.
Yeah,
comics.
no.
Novels didn't really do that. Comics do whatever the fuck they want, to be honest. But
That's true.
yeah, novels they tend to be easier to get into in that regard. Though obviously there's more fucking words, so again, younger people find it harder to get into them. But I think they're more comparable sense, which is why many manga come from novels, because that's a trait of novels. One of the reasons why comics can afford to have this convoluted, different universes and different characters coming together is generally because there's not as much content that you do consume in order to get up to date, if that makes sense. Meanwhile, with book, it generally takes a little bit longer to read a book, because read a comic, thus to expect someone to read a lot of this content in order to get up to date in the universe, it's a little bit more of a commitment. So I think that's why, generally speaking, novels tend to match manga in the sense that ease of getting into them from a lore or a universe perspective, rather than a format perspective.
Yep.
Something that is more Bye.
I'm just looking next to me.
Fortunately, I have no book up here. I just have Lego.
I don't have any like novel books. I've got lots of non-fiction and lots of comic books.
I have Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus next to me.
Yeah,
Most of my books I keep upstairs though. Yeah, I don't really keep a lot of series type books down here. I only Percy Jackson for some reason. Otherwise, I keep like just my literary classics down here, like Sherlock Holmes, Cthulhu.
And that's another thing. We have a lot of old novels.
Yeah.
A lot of like Sherlock and shit like that.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Brothers Grimm,
novelize a lot.
Brothers Grimm fairy tales.
Yep, Shakespeare.
Yep.
You know, obviously not traditional novel, but they have been novelized. So
they have been novelized as plays. Yes. Even things from fucking ancient Greece have been put into English.
Yeah.
From what they were back then.
Which is awesome, by the way.
Man, and then he got
like I very often forget that the fucking books we read based on Greek stories. This is not that. These aren't books published by them 3,000 years ago. This is us, how we've, as a society, recreated them, not only in this language, but in this modern context, and modern digestible way. That's so fucking cool. I just want to give, like, that's awesome. Just want to say that.
Yeah,
sometimes there's. Okay.
I was gonna say, like, I always find it interesting that, like, I never really hear someone call an animated film a cartoon. I was just
Marketing. I don't know.
like a Lion
Animated.
King.
Animated feature.
Animated. It's always animated film or something. I never hear it say cartoon.
That being said, usually nowadays it's 3D. So I think maybe that could cause the change in language.
Bro, the last 2D Disney film was fucking Princess and the Frog.
That's true.
Fucking dead medium. How dare they do that?
There you go.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. Bring it back.
Bring
I mean, it doesn't even need to be that. It's like, I mean, in terms of animated films, like, you can get away with having both in it, and it elevating what is there. Japan has proven that.
3D and 2D,
yeah.
One of my favorite things about Jujutsu Kaisen's anime is all their background, which means they can put all their 2D animated efforts into them, of the characters and the action, which pays off so well.
But generally here we have them 3D primary.
Yeah,
Meanwhile,
which is a shame.
anime
Oh no, it's not too much shame.
2D.
They do
It's a good,
right.
It's great 3D animation, but I want 2D back as well. I think that you should be able to show your animators, produce whatever story you want in whatever format you want it to be, or that would best elevate it. And I think Disney fizzling out 2D movies altogether is a problem, and because a lot of other places will follow suit, and therefore 2D animation outside of Japan will be gone, and then people will turn to Japan again for more things that
And
the
then they'll
West
make
give.
3D animated. But eventually they'll. But remember, you got to keep in mind, it's a lot of it's demand, right? If people are preferring,
I'm demanding it.
3D, then they're gonna make more money off of 3D. In which case, they'll want to more of it. If they see money going down for 3D and going up for 2D, then they're gonna switch to 2D. Matter of fact is here in the West, because most shit has been 3D, they're gonna stick with 3D because that's what's been working. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter what three of us fuckers think, because
Bring it back. Bring
it back. This is demand right here.
This is demand.
They better supply it. Demand.
You gotta email Disney then.
No. No, I'm too lazy for that.
Yeah.
I mean, I could say, Disney, give me more 2D films, or I could just watch the other 2D films that exist.
But I must say, there has been even the 3D films have been made very fucking.
Oh no, they're not bad. I just don't like the
some of them
fizzling
pretty
out
bad.
of. And in terms of quality of animation, I don't believe all of them are. But you know,
Some are just off, like Brave.
I haven't seen Brave.
So,
But things like How to Train Your Dragon and Shrek. That's very, very, very. But
Pixar doing 3D that was them going like, this is a new medium we can dip our toes into, and it fucking worked a treat, because then DreamWorks was doing it, and then so was Disney.
3D is also generally speaking easier to make, especially because you can.
Generally, yeah, but nowadays with this hyperrealism that everyone seems to have going on, instead of the, in my opinion, more creative outlets they could be using 3D for, that I think takes away from that simplicity factor.
But the point is, like, they can make in 3D. You can literally make an asset and just like move it along and reshape it however you want. Generally speaking, 2D most of the time is like, especially with anime, they'll draw frames individually if you want it to be good, which you can't do for 3D. But then the tech 3D, that's what makes it cheaper to make. I would assume. So. Like, these obviously does cost a lot of money to make 3D, but I
And they
would
still don't
assume,
get paid as much money as they should for it.
which
But
is something common in
that's
both of
that's
both of them
not
don't get paid enough.
not a Western thing. It's just a shitty corporation thing.
That's right.
Gotta pay your fucking workers.
Play your workers. They work
And some
hard.
Pay me. I'm fucking broke right now.
Nah, I'm good. I don't know. I think just generally when it gets down to it, I think when it comes to series in the West, obviously when you think of comics, it does tend to be a little bit more the hero based kind of stuff, and when you try and get into other stuff, I feel like it can be a bit weird and funny because it doesn't feel right or is not as popular. Or
If you want to get into those genres,
yeah,
you're not going to find it in comic books.
no.
Unless you're
I mean,
very
you
consistent,
can
and then you
totally
will find
can.
three things.
There are options. There are 100% options for it. But then again, in manga, I just love how much choice and variety it is. How it's so easy just to go from
Then
one
again,
series to
Shonen
the
Jump-
other just because I'm feeling I want to watch something with this kind of vibe or genre to it.
The Shonen Jump does have that usual theme of this one hero in this fantasy world that'll save the day at the end of the series or something. That does still have a capital on that. What's the word? Culture, but not nearly as much as Marvel and DC have on this one. And even then, Shonen Jump's not even anymore sticking with that hero-based thing.
No, they're not. It's true.
Fucking that Chainsaw Man, Promised Neverland, Haikyuu, the fuck?
Haiku.
Do I need to give more examples, or are we gonna move on?
Oh, I feel like
More examples. Chainsaw Man Part 2. God, all the good ones are gone. Ghostwriter, Time Paradox. We had some other bullshit. Let me get this app up real quick to talk about Shonen Jump trying to be different, which is really neat. While still having Dragon Ball publishing. Hey, Gravity Boys was comedy versus publishing. Fucking Death Note and Bakuman have been in Shonen Jump for the past 15 years. So whatever those names are, Ethan, get that for me. So the manga kit for Death Note.
Okay. Yeah.
Who are they again?
Yeah, it's just a bit dark in my room. Sugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata.
Yeah, them. They've been doing something different in mainstream Shonen Jump for a while, which is really cool.
Yeah. And even outside of Shonen Jump, they're not the only ones who do shonen things, but in their own way. I mean, technically, Fairy Tales is shonen genre, so is Full Metal Alchemist.
They still follow that hero thing though.
Yeah, they still follow that hero thing though, yeah. But they have that shonen genre thing of that hero to whatever. But Shonen Jump specifically, yeah. I mean, Jujutsu Kaisen doesn't really start off as like that one guy who can save everyone. Just some chump.
Well,
really.
they all try and change the genre. They tend to start off as some chump. Ichigo, some chump.
I mean,
That was later revealed he wasn't some chump.
I mean, Sakamoto days.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Should we give like a little synopsis for some of these? So imagine with Sakamoto days, you have this guy, who just was like this top tier level, god level, like mafia man, and he just like, I quit. I'm gonna work in this grocery store. I found someone I love. Okay, I'm now in a grocery store. That's the plot essentially. I think. Wrapped it all up. It's not what's happening in the manga right now.
That's
But
John Wick. Done.
yeah. What other ones are there?
Food Wars.
I have like no input in this conversation. I have no idea what.
Yeah, I
the
want
shit is.
to. I want to change it to something that we could work better towards, more on this idea and this topic instead of just, hey, Shonen Jump's breaking the mold a little bit, which they are. Doctor Stone, for example, as well, was this complete twist on this on the exploration adventure type and progression type idea that shonen manga usually have, where instead of power-ups or training bullshit, it's, hey, there's a new science thing we can try, or Chrome's like, I have an idea, and Kaseki's like, I'm getting naked, and you know.
No, you just
Good
Well,
shit.
even more just like they're not using fantastical elements. If that makes sense, they obviously exaggerate shit, but they're not, saying
They
yes.
exaggerate
they live in-
things?
they-
Are you
they live
telling
in
me
a-
Ryusui isn't real? Are you
No,
telling
he's
me
real,
there
don't
isn't
worry.
an actual 17-year-old who has the endurance of every human on the planet?
No.
Are you
I'm
telling
not
me
talking about-
if you give some random 17-year-old who just is pretty good at sports and even a metal dish and he yells into it a sonic boom? You saying that's not real?
No, I'm not talking about that.
Okay.
I'm not talking about that.
He's implying it though.
No. No. But, just, I think Taiju's intelligence is a bit over-exaggerated,
No,
times. Anyway.
no. It's pretty accurate.
But, no, yeah, I think that I like the fact that they're fantasy world, like, abilities and shit. When none of them really have, like, special abilities. It's just normal abilities that are just
Over
Exaggerate.
slightly more powerful, or they're just slightly better at it than the average Joe. And I like that aspect. It's refreshing.
And then there are some just complete series that are just like, you know what? Let's just write a story about life. You know, no power up, no nothing. Just a bunch of schmucks playing a game, maybe. Even in sports
And then that
anime, they
game
do the
traps
same
them
thing.
in a VR world that they can't get out of.
Yeah, just some schmucks.
That hasn't been done before.
It
Not
hasn't. I don't remember a series that ever did that before. Never, ever.
We should make a series with that. That's a pretty good premise, actually.
I know.
Oh
I'm
no,
surprised someone's capitalized on this.
Hopefully, someone doesn't steal our idea.
Yeah, we shouldn't have streamed this.
Yeah. Oh well.
They steal it. They steal it.
They steal it. They're gonna put some forced love interest in there at some point. It's not gonna be fun. They're gonna be real weird about it too. I swear.
Probably gonna also be underage.
Probably
we
also
won't do
gonna. You know what we should do in our story? We should have like this one character, who, when they enter the thing and got stuck, they ordered a pizza.
Yeah.
Do we let them have the pizza?
No, we
No.
don't.
Oh, you're
It'll be
cruel.
the greatest tragedy of the entire series.
That's so cruel. Is that gonna be like an end of series like tragic like death kind of thing? Or are you
No, it's
do
gonna be the
that?
first episode death.
Bro. Pulling out all the stops. Episode 1.
That's
Fucking
right.
hell.
That's right.
But you do that, you'll peak too soon. Your series will crash and burn after that arc. After that.
Ah, well.
Ah well. Can't be
Get the
helped.
main story out of the way.
Monkey balls.
What? Fuck it. Fucking fuck.
What?
Fucking stupid ass motherfucker. I don't want to get on it again. Fuck this game.
I do find it interesting. There are definitely a lot of series like Doctor Stone who are basically set in the real world, but they just over-exaggerate the abilities that people have. Food Wars is an example of one that's not particularly sports-based, but has a competition at least. But yeah, a lot of sports ones do it, definitely.
How did I not mention Food Wars when talking about breaking the mold?
I mean, Keijo, you have Keijo.
Oh,
Was that
fuck,
published in
like,
Shonen Jump?
No, it wasn't, but
Keijo's-
Well, we still can talk about it. We can talk about it anyway.
yeah, we can talk about anything. Who just has to be Shonen Jump?
No, it wasn't. We just talking about Shonen Jump at that moment.
Oh.
Shonen Jump breaking the mold, but yeah, we can talk about.
I mean,
Okay.
Keijo.
Good job.
I don't think the West would ever do a series like Keijo.
No.
And
No,
that's
the
why.
West would do a series like Cuties.
And that's why I vote East. Could you imagine if this was an actual debate and you just have like two people and like, okay, so the West just goes ham, and just like all these different arguments and crap, and then just the East guy goes Keijo and walks away from the mic.
We got Family Guy, we got The Simpsons, we got Arcane, we got Invincible. What do you got?
Keijo.
Keijo, sir. We have Keijo. And how heavy are the dumbbells you lift? And interspecies reviewers.
No.
Well,
See.
Oh, we got Big Mouth. Fucking hell. How that has 7 seasons, I do not know.
Big Mouth has 7 seasons.
Yeah, that's my problem with if it's there are many exceptions and I do appreciate them. My favorite of which is Arcane, but that American Western animation
Oh, that's the thing.
is either adult animation, obviously, like Family Guy, American Dad, Rick and Morty,
South Park.
or South Park. Yep.
Yeah.
Or it's My Little Pony. Not that that's bad, having My Little Pony.
What do you mean? My Little Pony
But
is magical.
one in between. A variety again. That's what I feel.
I mean,
Once again, I might just be an outsider looking in. I've not been to America or Japan, but it seems this doesn't seem to be as much variety in Western media as there is in Japanese. But then again, there's a lot of things that Japan just won't touch.
but you're also looking at it from like an age perspective. You're not looking at it from a genre perspective as well. Because yes, there may be an oversaturation of cartoons that target a younger audience, but it doesn't mean that every single cartoon is the same. There are a plethora of different genres within cartoons.
I mean, even in anime, it's not always the same. There are some animes heavily targeted towards children.
Yeah. But what I'm just saying is when it comes to cartoons, it's like there are.
No, I'm saying it's the same in both. That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
So to say that like cartoons are just sort of either this or that, that's within one categorization. But when you get into other categorizations, they are vast. Like Ben 10 is not the same as SpongeBob, nor Codename Kids Next Door or any.
But there definitely are
Adventure
series.
Time or,
but there are definitely series that I think mature along with its audience. Like where
Ben 10, Clone Wars, and Adventure Time.
Yeah, like
Clone
if you watch
Wars,
those first
okay,
series, like they're always a little bit too childish or something. But then, like as soon as it gets a little bit more into it, I feel like it's really showing that it's growing with the audience. I mean, Avatar also does it.
I would recommend searching up, not Alex, you haven't finished season 7 yet, but I would recommend searching up Clone Wars being a kids show, and it's very funny because
I'm talking about it maturing with its audience. So at the start, it would be more for kids, whereas later on,
But
No,
it's
but
still,
I
obviously
just
it still
like how
has little things where it's like,
it's still like target
Yeah.
children more, but that show has a lot of stuff in it that I wouldn't show the average child.
I saw that scene. You mentioned a scene when we talked about this before. You said there was a scene where someone just cuts off multiple people's heads in one strike. I found it.
Yeah, I love that's a thing. And I don't even think that like Clone Wars in the beginning, because often the beginning of Clone Wars is seen as inferior. I don't even think that's because of child factor. I just think that they didn't really know what they were doing in the beginning, and then
They were just making Star
figured it
Wars
out.
stories with this new character that no one even seemed to like.
So
And some parts were good. I really like Plo Koon and the clones in like episode 3 or something.
yeah. So, but I think that's one of the cases where even though it's, at times it does target children, it's again very different. Something, and even like the original series of Ben 10, even though it targets children, there are some banger fucking aspects
Yeah.
that can still be enjoyed by anyone, regardless of age.
That's the best kind of cartoon, though. Cartoons
Yeah.
that can both be watched by adults and kids.
Right.
That's just the best.
Oh,
I want to be an adult and just watch cartoons with my kids. That'd be fun.
Film South Park.
You know what? I probably will.
Don't do South Park.
What do you mean? I watched South Park as a kid.
And you're fucked up as an adult.
Oh wait, I'm an adult. Oh yeah, right, I'm an adult. I voted yesterday.
dude, that was funny.
You voted?
Yeah.
Voting is
you
funny.
vote-
It makes no sense.
Did you vote for the legalized cannabis party?
Yes.
That wasn't an option for me.
Yes. I would have done it for the House of Reps one, but where I lived they didn't have a candidate there, so I had to do the Senate. But I know in some places they had a cannabis House of Rep candidate, which as soon as I saw that on the Senate paper, I'm like, oh yeah.
I just put down random numbers. I didn't
It's a
even care.
weird party name, but you know when no one's gonna read any of your promotional material, you want to sell what you are.
But
So there was like that animal one.
Yeah. That was one in my one. We had the
I
animal
think
one.
they
Animal Justice Party or some crap.
Yeah, animal just buy something like that.
Yeah.
And
But that's boring.
No, it's
You
boring.
see-
But what it does is it'll tell you what it is at the start.
If
So
you
if
see-
you don't look into them, you're like, oh, they like
if-
dogs.
But if you're looking on a piece of paper and you see legalized cannabis on the front, I think that would make some people more inclined to vote for them just because it's legalized cannabis and it's just funny. So that they'll get the joke donkey vote, but then they'll get those people who actually want it legalized and see, oh, yes, well, I see that there. I'm going to vote for that.
Better that legalized than alcohol.
That's
Fight me.
I agree with you.
And then don't fight me.
I'll fight you.
Okay. In general or on this topic?
And then I'll just fight you in general.
Oh. Fuck.
Meow.
Don't do that to me.
I just attached my bionic.
Bionicles. I'm a big kid now.
No, we're not.
What?
Fuck you, I'm not growing up. Get fucked. Because here's the thing. As a kid, I understood nothing. I fucking understood so fucking little. And now as an adult, I'm actually smart and I'm like, fuck, these guys actually put a lot of effort into some of these things. Kids aren't getting this.
Which is why they add some jokes. Not for
And,
kids.
and I'm like, now I want to go back to the things that I fucked up as a kid, and now with an adult perspective,
And touch them.
I dead ass had the temptation the other day to go back to Mushu Monsters because they closed the main one, but they've got a new server, and I'm like, you know what? I'd probably be so good at the game now, given my knowledge. But then fuck. But I just like the fact that now as an adult, it's like, yes, well, those things that we did as a kid, that's still fucking alluring. Fuck growing up. Bullshit. As long as you can, pay the bills and keep the lights on, who gives a fuck? As long as you're not, touching anyone, who cares?
Touching anyone non-consensually.
But, of course, I'm gonna touch people that want to be touched.
I say that, but I'll touch you.
Yeah, you will.
I'm not listening to what's happening.
Oh, I moved on to touching Caleb.
Okay, that seems good.
But
Where
being
would you like
entirely
to
honest,
touch
I
him?
forgot how we got there.
Well, we're
Oh
big
right,
kids now.
liking what you like, even if you're an adult. That's what you're on. Right.
And
As long as,
you
you
mentioned
don't, as long as
touching.
you don't fuck anyone up. If you keep to yourself, yeah, do what you fucking like. I don't fucking care. You like My Little Pony? Fucking rock on. Go play Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna not do that. But more power to you.
That's right. Fuck you. My Little Pony's amazing.
Jeez.
I've heard.
Fucking My Little Pony.
I'll watch it one day. One day I'll sit down and No, you know what? When the legalized cannabis party, right, gets
Doesn't
into
win.
action and legalizes it, right, I'm gonna get a massive, massive bud and just watch My Little Pony. That's
Invite me.
that's it.
I beg of you, invite me.
That's it. That's just man, My Little Pony. Oh, that'd be brilliant. That would be that would be an
And to think I watched it with nothing.
So,
some of that
I-
stuff you need to be drunk, high or something.
Hmm?
With a
Oh.
lot of shit, you need to be drunk.
Are you about to say something, Alex?
I was.
And what was
Say
it?
it.
I don't know. I've forgotten.
He's forgotten.
I have the memory of a fucking goldfish. All right, like, if I don't say immediately what's in my head immediately, if I get distracted with any other topic, like maybe explaining the context behind the story I'm telling, what am I saying?
Weed.
Oh, how I'm forgetting things. Right.
Weed.
If I start explaining things, similar to the topic that isn't the topic, I'll just forget the main topic. You saw me telling the rest of that story at the start of the stream. What was I
Did
saying? Weed. My Little Pony.
I said I watched My Little Pony
Oh,
with
yeah,
nothing.
I got a question vaguely off topic.
What?
Pretty off topic, because based on the idea of not watching. See, I'm explaining it, and now I'm going to forget the question. So, Caleb specifically, not you,
Yes.
Ethan.
Oh, fuck you.
Is there any series you haven't gotten to just because you haven't gotten around to it, but you know fairly certain that you'll absolutely fall in love with it? And I think Ethan sees why this doesn't pertain to him. Unless he has an answer, in which case, answer it.
I don't have an answer.
I know.
That's tricky because I mean, off the top of my head, I can't even think of series that I intend to see. Probably Full Metal. Full Metal Alchemist is one of them. That is like something that eventually I'll watch at some point. I'll get around to doing that, but I trust that I will enjoy it. Record of Ragnarok is also one, but we're planning on reading that at some point, so it's more. That's what.
The only reason we haven't gone to that is just simply time.
And Doctor Stone.
And Doctor, yeah, we're busy with that one.
Which you know, look, I expect I'll enjoy Record of Ragnarok. I don't expect myself to enjoy it as much as Doctor Stone, but you know, you never know.
Well, with how much you've clearly told us you like Doctor Stone,
You
it's
never
very
know.
difficult to.
You never know.
But, you know, I think I lean more towards Doctor Stone.
What about you,
I like
Alex?
to say that I dislike Record. My thing, for me,
Because you realistically started one that you knew you would like, and that was My Love Story.
oh yeah, I fucking love that music. I'm 7 episodes in now.
Obviously, I can also think of
haven't got
another
around
one.
to
There's Golden Kamuy.
As what?
Golden Kamuy for you.
Oh, that's a big one. That is, I'm projecting top 5 series with that, like all time. That's, but you know, it's gonna be a minute,
Yeah.
unless I just fucked what we want to do, and I could.
Yeah, you could.
For me, I was gonna say, to me, it's some more Western shows I haven't gone around to. I've started Breaking Bad. I know I'll fucking love it. I loved it so far. I just haven't finished more of it. And outside of the finale, I'm sure that the incredibly layered world and plot and characters and story of Game of Thrones is something I would enjoy if I ever got into it, up until the end.
You know what?
I won't.
Add me to that one. I haven't seen Game of Thrones, but I get you on that one.
I just can't be fucked.
Yeah, I can't be fucked either.
I'm on the
Plus,
same boat.
you know it ends badly, so it's like,
It wasn't even that for me. I just never. If there's something super popular, it sometimes just doesn't get through me. If I hear about it, I'm like, oh, that's interesting, and I watch it that night. That's how I'll get into it. If I hear more about it later, don't. I don't know
I
what
was
it is.
gonna watch it. Someone gave me like the entire thing, and then I accidentally deleted it, and then there went my opportunity to watch it. So I just haven't. Can't be fucked.
I think for me it's a lot more movie based things. Where it's like, okay, I could watch it, but I'm not in the mood or I don't care enough to get my teeth sunk into movies.
You know, I'll put Dragon Ball movies on there because
No, yeah.
I know I'll enjoy them, but I just
Hey, weren't we supposed to watch those?
we were.
We were, if we were together. We were.
Yeah, but COVID's like got us into the habit of not, and then I've also moved out here. How long would it take me to drive up to Caleb?
Who knows,
3
actually?
hours.
You might be closer to Caleb at this point.
With the freeway. Do you mean because I have access to freeways and shit, or is it because you mean I'm on the other side of the fucking planet?
That one.
Where do
I
you
reckon
live?
if you
I forgot your address. I'm just gonna put this up. Don't say it on stream, please.
I reckon
Monkey
if you
balls.
grill, you'll get
Sorry?
grill underneath. You'll get.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, don't depart at 8 p.m. Let's say arrive. By public transport, it would take 3 hours. An hour. That's not.
Yeah, by public transport.
3 hours public transport. That's not even.
That means it
address,
must
that's
take you like 2-ish hours to get to the city.
Hmm?
It must take you 2-ish hours to.
It takes me to get from where I am to get to the city. A half hour, not even.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not. Like it's purple trains, yes, but I'm not that.
You can take 3 hours to public transport.
3 public transport from me to you.
From the city to me is like an hour,
Yeah.
and then if you to the city is half hour.
No, that's
So
by car. By train.
Oh
45
yeah,
minutes. Depends on if I go from the station or if I go from my house, which is a bus, which will take another 20 to 30
Yeah,
minutes.
me to the city is like, what, 20 to 30 minutes, depending on the train.
When I go to the city, from here, I drive to the station. So it's really not even about my house to the city. It's about the station to the city, which I'm almost saying the station's name.
Money.
Oh, here's your house. I've got it favorited. Now let's get a better view. Shut up. No traffic. It'll take an hour 40. So it's if I wanted to drive from where I live now to where I used to live, it'll take an hour if it's 9 a.m. There's no traffic at all. But that's obviously
Bullshit.
a fucking dream.
Especially during summer, it'll be a bitch for you.
Oh yeah. And when it comes to traffic, it can come up to an hour 40.
That's one thing that always.
By then, and that's not even yours. That's just.
That's one thing that's so goddamn annoying every single year. Every time, like during summer, there's always like closures on the freeway for construction shit. Every single fucking year.
The freeway I take is
It's
currently in construction, but it's fine.
I mean, it's always fucking on construction. Let's be honest.
Yeah, they've got like the roads. If anyone lives in the current city we live in, you'll probably forget which direction I live. Doesn't fucking matter. The road splits in two, and then reconverges like 5 kilometers later. So it goes from 4 lanes to 2 lanes of 2, and then in between those two is construction of a new road, and then those lanes meet up. And I just don't know where those lanes came from. They make temporary fucking roads to make permanent roads.
Yes.
Which they're gonna change in 5 years anyway.
Yep.
I mean, good on them. Fucking progress. If you don't upgrade new things, our city's gonna update it like fucking a decade or two. Like, but fucking no. What is that?
Your money.
I'm waiting. I'm
You
waiting.
know what we haven't talked about?
What?
In terms of East versus West, we talked about a lot
Yeah,
of
let's get back to
media
that.
type of things. What we didn't talk about is video games.
Go on. You could go on.
No, I have nothing to say. I just don't really find there's much of a difference, to be honest. Obviously, Japan has a reputation for having a lot more kiddier games and more easier appealing ones. With,
Well,
like,
if you mean
cartoons.
Nintendo, sure, but if you mean Final Fantasy, then no.
Yeah, I was getting into like Final Fantasy crap. Obviously, 'cause it is like very different from that, and a lot of like RPG kind of games is very different from that type of thing.
I tend to prefer Western games. Personally, that's just me personally. I tend to feel like there's a lot more. Well, from what I've seen, there's a little bit more indie games. Now, for all I know, some of those indie developers could just be from anime, and some of them could be. So actually, I have fucking clue. But especially Europe specifically, has made a lot of good indie games. Minecraft, for instance, was Swedish, and that's fucking taken over the globe.
I'm sorry, what's Minecraft?
Mhm.
What's Minecraft? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know what Minecraft.
Entire.
Tentai. Okay.
But generally, I feel like West games tend to be a little less. Not. I don't know. I just tend to feel like they are a little bit more unique sometimes. Sometimes Eastern games just feel a little bit not cookie cutter, but there's not as much variety from what I've found. But it could just be I'm looking in the wrong places. But you know, you look at.
I'm not an expert topic games, so I have no idea.
You look at a lot of. I mean, I guess
What?
they're made by the same made by the same publishers, but you look at things like fighters, I guess fighters, but more like Storm 4, and then things. There's just similarities, you know. And if I'm not articulating it well, but there's just some similarities.
You mean
some
because it feels like there's so little amount of publishers in the East that it all feels a bit samey at times?
Maybe.
Because
Maybe.
a lot of those things you mentioned were just fucking from Bandai.
And yeah, true. And admittedly, Nintendo does very well. I think Nintendo that makes a lot of unique games, and I think Nintendo's the. But again, the majority of like, for me, great Eastern games comes from Nintendo. Of course, there's Square Enix, which does Final Fantasy, and
I think that's also part of the I think that
Capcom,
they're a lot better at doing series games.
Capcom. And
Nintendo,
then there's
Capcom, Sony.
What's
Sony.
I forget that Sony's Japanese.
What's
Yeah,
That's so cool.
Snakes, Solid Snakes one again?
Metal Gear?
Kojima's
Gear.
one. You know, Kojima's.
Hideo
I can't
Kojima?
remember the publisher. Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know. But then there's also that one. But for me personally, Bethesda, Ubisoft, even EA, like they drop the ball sometimes, but sometimes they deliver bangers. And then other like big games, especially within esports, like Counter-Strike and Dota, which comes from Valve. I think I just love the variation in there and how you have a lot of that.
Konami.
Konami, that's.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, there are Eastern games that I fucking love. Mega Man's fucking great. Again, most of the Nintendo's games are great, like Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Speaks for itself. But then again, the majority of Pokemon games are very similar.
I will say, I find it more fun to play Nintendo retro games.
Yes. Their old games are fucking me. Newer games are still good newer games.
Yeah, of course.
But
compare that to the West. The only kind of game I would go back and play is probably Assassin's Creed or Batman.
True.
Arkham
But even if you
series.
want to go like even further back, there's not as many. Of course, there's things like Doom. But I definitely think that the East had a far larger impact earlier on when it came to video games like Mario, Zelda.
They still
Final
have an
Fantasy.
impact.
And they still have an impact, but not as much. I think the West is now also having a large impact. You know, as much as it's not necessarily our game, but you look at Fortnite, that made a fucking massive impact in the gaming industry. And
Better or worse? Hopefully better.
I mean, even Apex
I wanna
Legends.
be
Skylanders.
I mean, that sort of gameplay feature has died out a little bit, but
That's true.
I would say it's a
still
shame, but it just wastes so much money.
It does.
And space, to be honest.
It was cool though. I know it's.
It was-
I won't buy it. I won't invest any money into it. But I want a Pokemon game in the vein of Skyland. I want that to exist. I don't want to play it. I won't play
Fuck
Pokemon
that.
games. But that just seems cool. Like you'd actually go and collect the Pokemon.
But
It's a dead concept and you waste so much space and money. But I'm honestly a bit surprised they haven't gone that route with the popularity of Skylanders and Disney Infinity and Amiibos. Like they got Amiibos.
I forgot about Disney Infinity, you know?
I only ever remember it when we talk about Skylanders or Amiibos.
I think I gave that game to someone else. I had it and I gave it away. Just because I thought,
Play it.
I never bought any more than the 3 that I had from the base set. So what, Captain Jack, Mr. Incredible, and Sully.
I will say, as much as I'm not a gamer and do that much, I could say, I think the massive benefit when it comes to video games, even with the East and West, is that there is no number one company.
no,
There are
of
a lot
course.
of really big ones, and with the benefit of Steam, there is a great number and a great for indie developers and indie games.
Yeah.
Can you fucking imagine a fucking world without fucking Five Nights at Freddy's?
It's true.
Or any other fucking indie game that's some random guy was like, you know what, I could do this, and then
That's right.
suddenly it's a
Among
fucking
Us.
hit. And
Fuck
Among
that
Us,
game.
but it comes from indie developers and became so popular, it became so mainstream. And I think that's as much as I do not enjoy the game so much. I think the concept of that, of such a wide diversity of creators and publishers and ideas and genres that everyone can compete against and work together to
This game
create
is
better
so
ones.
easy to make.
There's so many of them.
But definitely, I
This
think
game is so easy to make good movies and animation and
Yeah.
comics. It is by far fucking easier to make. Or at least it's easier to make something that is more presentable and distributable. Right, obviously, I mean, it's if you've got the skills, it's easy to make, say, a comic, but it's hard to get other people to play, to consume that at times. Meanwhile, with games, it's not as hard doing that, especially comparing it to animation. Animation, someone who doesn't really have the resource, very fucking on a suitable scale. But then, even something as crude as Among Us, it's still a game. It's still like a full thing and it's experience. You can get it and play it as intended, which I think contributes to the large amount of developers and indie developers. Why indie developers do stand a chance, bigger companies to some in terms of their ability to make money, as that it's not as hard to make a good game as it is to make a good anime. And especially with technology getting better, especially like other technology like 3D, 3D asset creation and all that, sound creation, that also aids. Is obviously to make a good game, you also need 3D assets, and making 3D assets very fucking far easier than it was, than it was in the past. And I think that's definitely contributed to the rise of games. And it's easier for studios to make a game, test it out, and it's why you see a lot of games opening up in beta. So if it doesn't take off, then they can just not make the game. They can just try something else.
And and they can use those assets for other games as well.
Precisely.
And they can use previous assets on their current games.
Portal, Half-Life. Yeah.
Which is
Yeah.
a massive advantage of Valve and Steam. The entirety of
Turtles
Gmod
are
is such a
smart.
fucking hilarious fucking... Yeah, the Ninja Turtles are in Smite, yeah.
I'm just going through my game library, see how many Western and Eastern games. The vast majority are
On Steam.
yeah.
I feel like most of mine are definitely Western. The only thing is the ones that are Eastern are always fucking Bandai.
You know what another thing is with games? It's harder to tell if something's Eastern.
That's true.
Like I'm going through this
Unless
and
it's
I'm like,
Nintendo.
okay. I look at War Thunder and I
I
immediately
don't even remember
think-
Nintendo's Eastern half the time.
I look at War Thunder and I think, oh yes, it's Western, but then I think, hang on, no, it's not. It's Korean, and it's just like that's a game that throws you off because, again, with games, there's nothing to say that, oh yes, this is from the East or the West, unless it,
I mean,
like, unless it A is most definitely inspired off of anime, which some are,
Yeah.
but even then many Eastern
Even then.
games aren't.
Yeah.
They're just
or even the same with Western games. It's like, oh,
precisely.
sometimes it's very clear when something is Western when it says Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege or Tom Clancy's whatever.
Not Hideo Kojima's
Yeah.
Metal Gear. That's
But then you
a
see
small.
something
That
like-
is a small minority though.
You see something like Doki Doki Literature Club and be like, ah yes, that's made by.
Must be Japanese.
It's not.
I love interesting Genshin Impact is as a Chinese game, but it's written in Japanese. The title.
That's right.
There you go.
That's like my only piece, little bit of knowledge of Genshin Impact I have. I got nothing.
Also, it might be. I don't know how true this is, but it might be also easier to translate games. I could be wrong on that, but I feel
Well,
like
a lot of
easier.
RPG games don't have actual voice lines. They have like the text that show up.
Exactly.
Like I imagine Fire Emblem.
Hmm?
Animal Crossing's easy.
No,
'cause there's
Fire
no-
Emblem has voice lines.
Oh, it does?
Also,
Yeah.
generally they'll get other people to, which I guess they, not
But-
anime, but
But that has to be fully dubbed as well.
subbing.
And then
Terra, I think.
Terra.
Terra was that I don't know. I've actually forgotten.
Bigfoot, I
But
don't know.
I like
Uh,
Animal Crossing is they don't even have any language. It's just better by better.
That's
That's a
Eastern,
language. That's gibberish. Get it right.
I actually don't know. I actually don't know what nation
Nation what?
Round developer. The guys who made Rounds, I don't know what
They
nation
made the
they're-
sequel made Stickman, so if that
Yeah, but
I don't know anything.
Final Fantasy obviously East. Mega East Dragon. Police Simulator, I think.
I got a quote. Is there
I'm
any
pretty sure that's-
characters aside from I can think of Minecraft Steve? Any characters that aren't from Japanese games that appear in Smash? I'm trying to remember.
Okay, so Rounds is Swedish.
There you go.
Yeah.
Let me look
Swedish
Let me
indie
look at
studio.
the,
Landfall Games.
I don't. I think Banjo and Kazooie might be American. I could be wrong,
Banjo-
but I think that's American.
It's a rare. What's rare?
I think that's American. Could be wrong,
Published
but
on Nintendo. What's rare? Is a British video game developer. Okay, so
But it was most,
Banjo Kazooie is British.
but it does seem like they mostly published on Nintendo games software.
Yeah, then
Yeah.
being
Yeah,
on
yeah,
Nintendo
yeah.
doesn't mean being.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying.
but I think yeah. So I think that end obviously, other than Steve,
Smash Ultimate roster, please. Let's see the roster.
We fit Trent. That yeah, that's true.
Sega is Japanese, yeah.
Yes.
yeah.
Steve. Kingdom Hearts.
I think the first one. that-
Kingdom Hearts was.
The first one that was like not American or not mainly American, I think was Microsoft's Xbox. That being said, Atari, I'm not actually sure because I think at least the console there was a Western man behind it, but Atari, I'm not
What's Pac-Man?
thinking Pac-Man. Oh no, it's not.
Pac-Man's
sorry.
Japanese.
That's easy. It's Japanese.
Yeah, Japanese.
I think
Okay.
Pong. I think Pong was American. I think. Well, sorry, not necessarily American. 'Cause I think,
Oh, Metal Gear is Japanese, yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like it, but it is.
So it's literally Minecraft and Is Kingdom Hearts even actually? It's Disney, but is it not? Is this?
I think it's mainly. But I could be wrong. They could be. It's probably both.
published by what's Square Enix?
I think that's
Headquarters is it's
yeah.
okay.
No, that's Eastern. That's Eastern because that's. I think Square Enix is the one that makes Final Fantasy. The ones.
It's from Tokyo. Owned by Yasuhiro Fukushima, according to Wikipedia. I want to just make sure people are aware that this is my current source. By a Japanese architect turned entrepreneur. Yeah. Okay, so it was by Square Enix. It is a collaboration between Square Enix and the Walt Disney. So even then, Kingdom Hearts definitely got a lot of Japanese creation in there, but also a combination with Walt Disney. I don't know. I'm not going to call it a gray area because it is Square Enix. So the only one untouched by the East, aside from Banjo-Kazooie, is Minecraft.
Yeah.
I find that very amusing.
Minecraft especially though, because Banjo showed up on Nintendo games software. Minecraft just everywhere.
I think that's the reason it got added though, because I think with other things like, say, Assassin's Creed or Halo, they have been. Well, Halo, I don't think's ever been on. Could be wrong with that, but I'm pretty sure it's never been on Nintendo. And
but there's also was that other like version of like Smash, but for other game characters.
Yeah, and then so it Assassin's Creed, I think they might have, but I don't think it's known for its Nintendo title or its Nintendo port. They just added just when the Switch released, they added Skyrim. So technically now they have been on it, but although they did add there's like customization features for Mii's, well the Mii fighters, so
There's an Undertale one.
You could put like Fallout and shit on there. So
they had Undertale.
Yeah.
You can put Sans from Undertale on fucking your Mii on Smash, which is so fucking cool because it's a fucking.
Capcom. Yeah.
It's I mean I think Minecraft was an indie from the start, but now it's Microsoft owned. But Undertale, an indie game, getting on fucking Nintendo Switch, Smash Ultimate, I should be more specific, on a mainstay, potentially the mainstay, Nintendo game, right? Getting on there, that's pretty fucking neat. Not as a playable character, but you know what? It's still very good.
Even Minecraft getting there was again, yes, they have a big public.
Yeah, if it's by Microsoft, which is why I don't have it as much of an achievement, even though it is one.
But the only thing with that is
it's an achievement for Notch. I'll tell you that.
The majority of its popularity came before Microsoft.
Well, yeah.
It's why I mean technically it is owned by Microsoft, but I don't often consider Minecraft to be a Microsoft game. I credit it to the Swedish. What makes Minecraft great was there far before.
But what allows it to be recognized by Nintendo may also be Microsoft.
Money.
Oh, I didn't remember. I have Yoda Starfighter in Lego. That's another one, the Lego game. That's I think I don't think they have a like title.
I have so little to say about Lego games.
I think the top 10 games I've played on are like all West. I actually don't know about one. I don't know whether that.
Which what?
Crash. I don't know if. It's Eastern. It's like got like that East style, but it could be like Doki Doki. But yeah. GTA, Paladins, Skyrim, CS:GO, Rust, Skyrim again, TF2, Rainbow Six, Gmod, Okay, if we take away both Skyrims, they're just two different editions. Then technically, an Eastern game would make it, or a definite game would make it, and it's Fatal.
Sorry, your top 10 most played games, Skyrim appears more than one, with several
Yes.
editions.
Yes.
Okay, Crush.
I just want to say, I just want to like congratulate you on that. If I'm being honest.
I found out what Crush is.
What?
Canadian.
Go.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, well, Sad Panda
I love that.
Studios is Canadian.
That's. I just like Canadians that. But yeah, Skyrim, regular Skyrim was 686 hours, which is not enough, and special edition I have 323 hours. So that both. And then GTA I've got. Paladins I've got 7.
I don't even want to talk about my hours in my games. It's gonna get 1,500, 320. Like, it's not.
I wonder what the 1,500 one.
Me too, you know? I'm actually very curious. It's a shame. I don't know. Is there a way to find out how many hours of Minecraft you've played?
No.
Because I don't think it'll beat my number one.
I don't
but, you
think
know.
so. The only way you could probably get it is Microsoft, but that wouldn't count. That wouldn't count pre-Microsoft, which for me is like the majority of my.
And
then-
who knows where Kiwi Ninja's from? Like, no one knows where that's from.
From what?
Kiwi Ninja Kiwi or whatever.
Fruit Ninja?
No,
That's,
Ninja Kiwi,
studio.
what's the-
It's
That's
Bloons Tower Defense.
Yeah, it is.
Ah, yeah, I have no idea. I had no fucking clue.
You don't. Kiwi.
No, I had no clue about the developer of fucking balloons. No, I get that.
No one knows where it's from. It's
War
from
Thunder
Manga.
Korean. I actually don't know what Soul's similarity. What?
I imagine it's Western.
I would assume so. But Ark, I think, is East.
Is it?
I think Ark's made by an Asian country. I could be wrong. With that, but I thought they were East. Forest, I think, is Western. Civilization and Earth. Both. Yeah, so that's West. I actually don't know about Warframe. I assume West. Planet Side, I think, is actually Just Cause 3. That's West. Don't know.
I'd be
Halo,
hard pressed if I learned Just Cause wasn't Western.
Ark's American.
That's Westernized. Oh, is it? Okay, there.
Yeah.
That's East. West. 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 West.
Why not
West.
just middle?
West.
Huh?
Western. Western.
Where's
Western,
the
Western,
middle?
Western.
They bombed
I
it.
think Eastern. West. East. West. East. West. West. Eastern. Western. West. Western. Western. West. Western. West.
This is the
West.
highlight of the stream, I think.
Western. West. West. Eastern. West. West.
There's an Eastern in there.
I think West, but it could be East. West. I think Western. So that could Western. I think it was West. Western, because that's Western, East, Western. I actually don't know, but that company, that game. Eastern, Western. That's the thing that's.
Vegetable.
That could be European, but I'm not sure. Fox. Little Inferno, that's Western. Western.
We haven't talked about music, I just realised. If we've got anything to say on it.
It's a
I
bunch
don't
of
have
noise.
much.
The West is pretty much West. Oh, that's Eastern. That's
Well, I mean, music's music. It's whatever.
given that the title's in Japan. Oh, there you go, Braves. What the fuck? Oh, I think that's different. I like when there are some games that you can look at and you're just like, okay.
Music is something I think that's very different. Just for the fact that you don't need to understand it to enjoy it.
True.
Even then,
That
you don't
being
actually have to understand the story of a game to play the game.
No. But
Admittedly,
obviously,
if you know what the characters are saying, and you know the story behind it, and the consequences behind your actions and all that, it will probably heighten the...
yeah.
And I do think the same
And
is also
usually
music.
you would have no clue what the hell's gonna what's happening unless you read.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just...
So whilst I do think games and music can be enjoyed without the language necessary, whereas books...
Video games more so than games, I say.
I do think video games is... music is more so, you definitely don't need to. But
Yeah.
it's also...
I mean,
I do think lyrics, if they're there, they usually are supposed to aid the music involved.
without a translation, games are hard to
Yeah.
play.
Hard, yes. Not impossible.
True.
If you've got checkpoint,
Depends
you
on
know
the
what an
game, though.
exclamation mark and an arrow...
I tried playing a fairy tale game that was untranslated.
And yeah, it will depend on the game.
I didn't get far, I can tell you that much.
If Alex plays Pokemon and doesn't read anything,
It doesn't what?
if you play Pokemon and don't read anything, you'd be fucked. Well, older Pokemon games, I should say.
Yeah. Yeah.
Explain that to me. Because I don't know.
Because you actually need to read what the fuck is happening. Otherwise, you'd get lost. You wouldn't know how to do things, and it would just be completely a mystery to you. In newer Pokemon games, there's more of a guide.
Oh yeah, when you click the attack and the jump, you'll need to know what those are.
No, not that.
Preferably.
I mean, it's
No, that's what I'm getting
It's more
you.
the story.
As well as
more the story. Like sometimes you get stuck in a place because you don't know that you actually have to go talk to this one person if you're not reading.
Exactly.
And sometimes
exactly.
it's not even in
Or
a
one
marked
building.
building or some shit.
talk to everyone. I'll do it. I won't play like that.
Yeah.
You won't play. Stop.
Oh yeah, that's where I was going. But I don't want to be mean. Well, no, I never really get into Pokemon.
Unless it's Pokemon Go.
In my defense, my dad was playing it.
How's it a defense?
My dad was playing it.
If anything that makes it worse.
We go around. We catch Pokemon. He'd be driving around. Like, did you catch something yet? No, we're driving. It's not how it works.
Oh yeah, remember you drove us to find a Rayquaza once?
Yeah.
Or
we-
Dialga or something, I can't remember.
Rayquaza sounds right. It was we just missed it. Just
Oh, we
almost
did
made it.
too. There's no
I was
fellas
so...
like
Yeah, the people before us got it. But we just lacked firepower. Only just. If we got there earlier with those previous people, we would have smashed it.
yeah. Fair. With music, the majority of my music that I've listened to from the East come from either games, like I don't really. I'd like to, sort of look more into music from other places, but admittedly, it's vast majority of my stuff that is in English.
I think
Generally, music isn't translated too much.
no,
Like sometimes it is, but it's not like
it doesn't need to.
translated by the singer itself. If that
No.
makes-
Covers. Except for there was the ED in Dragon Ball Broly was sung in English in dub by the artist, which was really a very unlikely and cool thing that happened. But I wanted to mention it because it's a really good song.
I mean, I feel like I have a good mix of just English and Japanese, but usually when I'm listening to like J-pop or whatever, it's not the particular thing that you'd expect from me to just listen to anime openings. It's I actually listen to particular artists over anime openings more so, just because I really like the artists and I think that they sing really well. They sing well, yeah.
I've tried to like listen to songs not just outside of the West, but like even in like places like not English places, but still potentially within the West. Um, like like Italian songs, stuff like that.
I wish I were that good.
I choose to not listen to Greek songs just because I've had enough of that in my life. Where to this point it's a little bit annoying to me. There's a
Listen to
particular
better songs
mood
then.
it gives to me. I don't like the mood.
But yeah, songs I don't think either side really has.
No,
I don't really think either side really has a a better song.
Oh, I wouldn't call it any
the
one better
the
than the
the,
other.
the only difference you can really say there is because the audience of English speaking singers and artists are far broader. They have obviously a larger following just because they have a
Yeah,
larger
yeah.
population. Yeah, and that's the
But
only real thing you can say.
That's
more
with all
people.
of it, really.
That's
Yeah,
just more people.
like because
But in
sometimes like
terms of,
in Asian countries like they go fucking hyper over singers and crap.
but it's not like they do anything in a real
No,
different way. I mean, obviously, some places do, obviously, but then this Italian song I listen to, it just sounds like I don't even know what the song genre is called, but like it's just it sounds like something that you would hear in like English, but it just happens to be in Italian, and it's just there's nothing in it that makes Italian other than the fact that it is in Italian.
yeah,
Uh, which is I think modern now kind of does that. You know what I mean? You hear a lot of songs that, and I think that's partially the good thing about music because music is so universal that it doesn't really matter what language it's spoken in. The music itself is sort of the same, which I think is quite interesting and beautiful. That and that's why dubbers tend to do a good job because what's Eastern or Western about the music again isn't the music itself; it's the lyric or what it's spoken. And of course, there can be cases where you maybe prefer how one language sounds over another, but usually the that's not the biggest indicator. Most of the, but I think even like because I mean, there was an anime OST, but it's Blumenkranz, which is in German, and I think even in that one, it's like whether someone did it in English or German, I don't. It doesn't really matter to me that much because it's still the of the general rhythm to it, the general sound, instruments they might use. That sort of that tends to overpower whatever language. And you know, sometimes it is nice to understand if you know the language. It's nice, like hearing a word and like, oh, I understand what that person is there.
That's
But
always good fun.
even then, it doesn't matter. And
Oh,
sometimes it
oh,
can ruin it
I
if you
want to
understand.
talk on the topic of language songs and listening to them. This is a song I sent in chat by I'm not Adriano Celentano, or someone with an Italian and understanding the Italian language can probably pronounce it better. There's this song. I cannot tell you the name of that song. I'm not even gonna bother trying. And it's one of my favorite like ideas or studies about music. Well, not even studies, but if you'll give it a listen somewhere, skip to the middle and have a little brisk listen of this tune,
I won't.
please.
No, I can't.
Why not?
I wonder why.
Because it'll be on his stream.
Why not?
No,
Doesn't want
Open
to
a
get
new window.
copyright.
that doesn't change anything.
It'll still pick
No,
up.
you'll pick up every audio on your computer.
Yeah.
Open it on your phone.
Again, no,
Why?
because my mic is good, and it hears everything in the room.
Caleb, can you have an
What he can't
please?
listen to it, you know, whatever.
If you will, there's a reason why I'm bringing this up in this particular conversation.
Yeah, but I just can't do it.
I'm not
Then
telling you.
just-
I'm telling Caleb to.
Yeah, I am. I'm listening.
Awesome. Do you understand any of the words that are being said?
To be honest, I'm not listening. I've got it lower so I can hear you, and
Have a
so I
listen.
can have the conversation. And even then, I'll probably want.
This song was proofed whenever the time it came out by the artist that the Italian audience will enjoy any song that even sounds remotely English, right? They would see it as more of a higher quality. So this artist created a song. He studied language phonetics on how English sounds, and he created a song that is absolutely fucking gibberish. There is not a single word that's in there, but it sounds convincingly like the English language. As proof that the audience and then it fucking I forget what the actual data is because I saw it somewhere, but it became one of the biggest songs to hit to Italy in that fucking year. It was very popular.
God,
I find that
Despacito.
no, Despacito is
It-
yeah
it's
no
a-
yeah just yeah if it's interesting when you listen to the songs in a different with a mixture of your own.
Yeah.
A lot of the case with I've listened to a bunch of Japanese songs with English additions into there. It somehow seems makes it seem better.
A lot of
Or
Nano
other
songs.
Sorry?
A lot of Nano songs have a mix of English
Nano,
into it,
right?
but that's also because she was born in America.
Fair enough.
She's an American Japanese.
I find it interesting how even in Italy, the perception that other countries will produce things better, which is utter bullshit. It's just the way you see yourself as an outside looking in kind of person.
The outside seems special and unique, in a way. It seems different, and that sometimes interesting. Some people don't like the different, and generally that's.
But if you don't like it,
Prejudice. But then
fucking-
there's some people who genuinely enjoy difference, and they look at that and they think, oh my god, that's so much better. I love that. And sometimes it's just because they've grown used to their own lives, and I don't want to say that they don't appreciate what's around them because that's may not necessarily the case, but I do understand where the idea that people see something foreign and they see it as potentially better.
I find it amusing how many different people that exist in the world that they'd be racist. They'd say some racist remarks to a Japanese lad, and then they drive home in their Toyota. They'd pop on their Fujitsu air conditioner. Right. They'll turn on their Panasonic TV and they'll play some Mario game.
Yeah.
I
And
find it
Sony
amusing.
microphone or whatever.
I love that influence that other countries have, the benefits they have. You won't even know half the time. Not very recently, but way too long into my life did I realize was not a German company or something.
Well,
There's a lot of
what's a German
Fujitsu
company?
and shit. Toyota.
Oh.
I just assume that it's usually European countries that make cars. I forget that Japan's got some shit too. The amount of we influence their culture influence. It's amusing. I find it incredibly amusing how different cultures can live next to each other, even if people try to reject that they exist. And I think with the implementation of Japanese technology into our culture, and obviously they're taking a lot of things from many other Western countries, any number of countries. The idea that we can actually share media with that small hurdle of that translation that we can then enjoy, and we are with it now that Manga as it is their media as the same as easily as they do, and they can enjoy what we produce just as easily we do. I love that this world is working with each other too. Sorry?
That we can share shit. We can
share shit, yeah. Okay.
And we can.
It's one of the great things about
We can just,
working
we
together
can
to
just
make
help each other out. That's the last thing.
And a lot of people don't even realize that half the shit they use wasn't fucking white people didn't make that. You know this kind of thing. We didn't get to fucking space without the help of any number of diverse people.
Some of those people were Nazis, but
Some of those people were Nazis, but you know what? As bad as the Nazis have gotten, they did help with, and that's cool. Space is cool.
it is.
I mean, a lot of people won't be here without the Nazis and what they did. It's that one thing I will say, like, the idea of going back and killing Hitler is like, okay, and that's just an ethical dilemma, because without what he did, you're erasing potential millions, billions of people to create more billions and millions of people. Is it ethically justified to do so?
Well, that is
because as much as he did cause a big thing, he also created lives, and potentially the person who went back's existence is stable because of that one event.
To make sure you're using the word potential a bit there. You must realize there's also the potential for even better things if we prevent.
But there's also the potential for worse.
You don't know.
Yeah,
there is potential for worse, but I'm not. I refuse to justify evil just as a worse. It prevented a worse. Potential.
No, I'm saying going back and stopping if you had that option.
Justifying what they did, it's saying if you had the ability to go back in time and change that. I personally wouldn't, because
I would.
Yeah, that's what I would.
But I don't want to. I don't want to then say the reason I won't is because it could be worse. I don't want to affect. If I would never.
No, I'm saying the ethical dilemma is there. Is like, yeah, sure, you're saving people's lives, but you're also destroying, again, billions of people's lives at the same time.
Mm-hmm. That's only because we're traveling back in time from however many years later.
Yeah,
our perspective.
Of course, hundreds of years from now, you can't possibly. But you know, if I lived in 1950, you know what? However many million babies would, they're 4. They'll be fine.
But then,
that is a matter of perspective.
If you did go back in time and change something, then you would then be responsible for
what happens.
The
every single possible thing.
Whatever happens
every
after
single thing
that
happens after that is all you. I love
so
that.
That's why I wouldn't change it. Even that means every single death that occurs afterwards is 100% my without 100%.
The reverse could also be true. By you having this power and then refusing to stop it, everything that does happen in this current version is also indirectly responsible. You're almost indirectly responsible for that. Yeah, it would happen regardless.
It would have happened regardless of what I've done.
Oh, if you made a change, then it would have happened.
If I made a change, then I was the one that made it. If I don't make a change,
if you had the option to, and then you didn't, then you're also then responsible for everything that happened because you didn't step up and do something.
True. But then I have no.
The inverse is possible. I would not feel nearly as guilty about it or responsible, but the inverse does also then become true.
I have no way of knowing what's going to happen afterwards. I have no way of knowing what the result of that's going to be. I do, however, know what the result of my inaction is going to be. So then I think if I were to then change the future, I would then understand and know what it is I'm changing. Right, I am inherently taking a risk by saying, no, I want to risk what we currently have and what we've currently been able to fix for something that could potentially be better or could potentially be far fucking worse. So that's sort of why I wouldn't go back in time. And for those who would turn around and say, well, how could killing Hitler make things worse? Well, imagine if you went back to, let's say, before they killed him, or supposedly killed him, and you killed him, and then someone else took place, and that person actually won the war. Yeah. What if they actually won the war, and then it wouldn't have just been the people in Europe that would have suffered, but people outside of Europe, the entire world.
And keep in mind as well, a lot of people are descendant of immigrants, and a lot of people left their European countries because of World War II. So my existence
don't have
wouldn't
any idea
be
of
valid.
what could happen.
Yeah.
We genuinely don't have an idea of what could happen if the butterfly effect is scary, man. That is a fucking scary.
Because all my grandparents are from different parts of Greece. They met here in Australia, so therefore it's valid to say I probably wouldn't exist.
The flapping wings of a butterfly could cause a hurricane on the other side of the world.
I believe that. I personally believe
Beautiful.
it makes if one, like, let's say the creation of the universe, one atom was off, I 100% believe that would have changed everything. Just that subtle change would just cascade.
We
Right?
could have
And
had
one thing
wings.
leads to another. We could have had fucking wings. We could have also had jutsu. Who knows? Who knows? But that's why for me it's like it's why it's an interesting way to look at it. Why the stories I create them within a universe where I try and focus on that aspect where what you change, you now have to live with those. And it's such an interesting concept. It's fucking dark because it's basically turning around and saying, well, you can't make the wrongs of the past right without potentially making things even fucking worse.
I always
'Cause
find I always find it interesting when time travel, like in stories, they take a different type of thing where it's like if you're destroying this event for the sake of good, it will replace that event with another shit event.
Potentially.
Yeah. I mean, take all of us. Like we all grew up in a time of airplane security. We have no idea what it was like before the events of 9/11.
Airport security. I'm glad to live in a world with airport security. Definitely worth the lives of 3,000
Yeah,
people.
but exactly. Yeah, it's like, but we don't know what it was like before
It
then.
could have been worth that.
Yeah.
If you consider that potentially an even worse event could have taken place.
Mm.
And again, that idea is very uncomfortable to have because in the end of the day, it is a utilitarian viewpoint, and that is very, it's an idea that we I think naturally don't like to have. The idea that one life is worth giving up for 1,000. You know what I mean? Inevitably, we would like to have all the lives be okay, but
That's an ideal world that just
potentially
can't exist.
potentially that can't. Yeah.
You need
So
usually how we learn is through trial and error, and if there is no error,
exactly.
we become the dodo birds.
Um.
They hit a lot of errors. They didn't trial through that very.
Evolution is trial and error. Let's be honest. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, the life is
Once again,
built upon.
mostly error.
Yeah.
Bruh,
I mean, there's no real succession when it comes to evolution. It's only error. Because it's not like we can ever find an end point to it. We can constantly evolve and adapt.
But it is just seeing what works, and if it doesn't work, then it's not forward. If it does work, then it does go forward, and it can get even better.
That's right. We're all in agreement. Alex is a reptoid.
I'm what?
He's a reptoid.
I'm a what?
A reptoid.
A rectoid.
Reptoid.
What's a reptoid?
I'd assume it's a reptile.
Oh. Why?
I don't know.
Oh.
Well, you're secretly you're among Mark Zuckerberg.
That's
I'm
right.
actually
You're
his
among
son.
us.
Don't say that.
Why not?
No.
No. Nose?
I just realized he has a bandage on his. Was that intentional, or was that just like a reference?
To what? What's up?
No, it's a
I
reference.
knew what
to
avatar
something.
you have. Okay. You had a bandage on your nose. I wasn't sure if that was a reference. Alex,
It's a reference.
slightly larger nose. Or
What's a reference to again?
Moonrider? Moomin, yeah.
Yeah, I thought so.
but I suppose it also does work. Slightly larger.
I don't know, I gave myself a clown nose.
And I just have a.
You have two noses, Caleb.
I do have. I have my nose, and then I have another second Makes money.
Speaking
Right.
of fucking errors in evolution, what the fuck are horses?
What?
Their fucking legs are just long fingers.
Yeah.
They break any bone, they're not.
Yeah.
They're gone. You gotta put them down.
Yeah.
It's just like you think humans are shit. I think humans are shit. But horses,
Yes.
bruh.
Humans are. You know the species that can, like, talk to each other over fucking air.
Yeah.
Basically, can. We're just the worst species
We are. What are you on about?
to ever evolve.
That's right.
Yeah.
We go
Our
hoodoo.
penises don't retract. They are comically large. Our brains take 25 years to develop, and even then they're stupid. We have periods, not we. Females have periods, and no
Alex,
other
do you have
fucking
something to
mammal
tell
does.
us?
That is actually funny. Not funny. It's not funny.
I find it hilarious.
But yeah, we
I
are the
laugh
only.
because I'm not the one.
Even the other
God.
great apes don't get it. And then I saw this picture where it's got like the bone of like the hips or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a fuck.
Yeah, men
Doctor.
men have prostates.
But it's like it's like the part where the baby comes out, but it's like just the bone, right? And showing you it for human, chimpanzee, and all that. And for all of them, they're proportionally sized to the baby's head, and then you just got a human,
for the
where
human.
it's just so fucking small compared to the human's head, and it's just like,
That
why?
it's genuinely life-threatening to give birth.
I don't understand how that. To be honest with you, I don't know where something went wrong somewhere in the evolution where it's just like, yes, this is benefit.
Oh, and after the baby is fully grown and you don't need to produce breast milk anymore, they're still there. The breasts, which you know what, very nice.
But even men have breasts.
Yes.
We do some.
Oh, and teeth
Well,
aren't.
also
Teeth aren't fucking designed to live without constant, to like properly, maintain function shape for as long as our lifespans last, unless you take very conscious care of it.
Yeah, that's true. Or just get rid of them and just get a fake set. That also works.
Yeah, but
We don't-
that's
we
just
don't have a-
showing
we
you
don't
that
have a
we're not
blowhole.
built to last for a long time.
Yeah, exactly. It's bad. And we don't have blowholes. So
There are
if
animals
get
with
stuck-
severely shorter lifespans than humans.
Is
as
really
well.
what?
There are species out there with severely lower lifespans than humans.
Oh yeah, no. If we got 8, there's almost all of them.
Yeah, and then you got tortoises that beat us all.
But fucking tortoises. Apparently, there's like a 400-year-old shark, which I find.
Probably.
And then you got Gustav, crocodile. That's a crocodile that apparently has lived for quite some time and has had a lot of fucking teeth.
Yeah. I was like, we don't have blowholes, so if food gets stuck in our eating hole, we die. Because we will choke on it.
That is.
Why can't we be like frogs? Is it frogs that either breathe through their skin or their buttholes? I know there's some creature that does that.
I think frogs can breathe.
Breathe what?
I think it's frogs that can breathe.
You keep cutting out after you say breathe.
Breathe through
frogs can
something
breathe.
else.
Through something. Yeah, I know that. I just don't know if it's buttholes or skin.
Or maybe it just depends on the frog.
Could depend on the frog.
We have gone far off topic.
Yeah, let's talk about East versus West humans and evolution.
Oh,
What? It's all shit.
Let's get racist.
Oh no. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I mean, you have all these weird animals, well, humans, but it's like, then you have species. Why doesn't humans have a subclass of species?
We do. They called it. No. No.
I mean, there were other like species of human, but then unfortunately,
What happened to them?
unfortunately, they just didn't make it.
Yeah.
Neanderthals are just
And there's even more than that, but Neanderthals are the funny ones.
That's because.
I mean, there's Floriensis. I know of Homo Floriensis and Homo erectus. And I only know of Homo erectus.
Both of those words.
This is just showing you the mental maturity of humans. We see an ancestor. We see an ancestor which is named Erectus.
You just have to say it again.
You know what? It's funny because imagine if they brought one back to life. The poor lad. It would get. Could you
They're
just
laughing at me because my brain isn't as developed. Nah, mate. Nah.
Nah, that's the name. I mean, I know Homo Florian tiny.
Imagine being a human that was perfectly preserved and nice. If you thawed them, they'd be perfectly fucking able to live. Well, maybe not, but they could come back, right, after hundreds of years, and their fucking name was fucking Butthole.
I mean, technically, if you want to get to the specifics, sometimes it can be unclear if we actually are full Homo sapiens due to the fact that obviously Neanderthals were around the same time and there was 100% crossbreeding.
Mm.
Yeah. So what's defined as a Homo sapien then?
Us.
Us? But then,
yes.
Then how are their ancestors also Homo sapiens if they crossbred with a different species?
Well, now that we have it's been so much time between then and so much crossbreeding after the Neanderthals have already passed away.
Not exactly, because there's still diseases to this day that targets those genes that live inside people.
Yeah, some of those genes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
saying those diseases come from that gene pool.
You know, Caleb. So all the Italians are.
What? No.
Wasn't there just this one story that we just made that so like we just either eradicated all the Italians or we made them Neanderthals or something?
I remember.
I
I just know that, spoilers for Dr. Stone, Italy is dead. It's Rome.
That was so sad. Saw that episode.
I've been waiting for it since we started Dr. Stone, to be honest.
Can't remember if Sicily was. I mean, if someone was on Sicily, then fuck. But I can't remember if Sicily was.
The whole area is kind of.
Might have been alive. I can't remember if they. I can't remember if it was the entire thing.
Pretty sure it was largely Rome.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, but then that can extend far greater because there's a meteor after all.
I mean, yeah. If regardless if Sicily was. Like the actual landmass was spared. If you're on Sicily, fuck. There'd be nothing left. Yeah, that is actually kind of interesting. Because I don't know actually then at the time. 3,000. But maybe that's part of the reason he got rid of Rome, because Roman roads last forever. So they could easily have gone there and be like, oh, if it even would withstand that many years. But I mean, it's withstood 2,000 so far. So
I
mean, that's people living on them and maintaining them.
We also saw in Japan some monuments partially stayed alive.
Anyway. I think have we sort of
yeah, we've kind of extended this topic to randomness at this point.
Told you it was worth keeping Caleb here for this one.
Alright, we should end the stream the correct way. And what other correct way to end the stream than is there to anoint Alex by saying monkey balls?
Monkey balls.
It's funny it's funny in isolation, not in that context.
Monkey balls. Have a nice human life, people.
Monkey D balls.
Monkey D balls.
Yeah.